On a stormy afternoon on September 3, 1997, Vietnam Airlines Flight 815 lifted off from Tan Son Nhat International Airport bound for Pochentong International Airport. It was supposed to be an ordinary 45-minute journey. Families, business travelers, and tourists settled into their seats aboard a Soviet-built Tupolev Tu-134B3. Some passengers were traveling for work. A few were reportedly on their way to weddings. None knew they were boarding a flight that would become the deadliest aviation disaster in Cambodian history. As the aircraft neared Phnom Penh, the weather turned ugly. Rain hammered the windshield. Visibility dropped. The airport itself was struggling. Some of its navigation equipment had been looted during the country's turbulent years, forcing crews to rely on less precise guidance. Approaching pilots often had difficulty spotting the runway in bad weather. Inside the cockpit, tension began to rise. The captain continued the approach through the downpour. The aircraft descended lower and lower. The runway still wasn't visible. The first officer and flight engineer became increasingly worried. According to later reports, they urged the captain to abandon the landing and climb away for another attempt. But the descent continued. The rain outside was now a grey wall. At only about 100 feet above the ground, the crew still could not see the runway. The first officer reportedly warned the captain again. Moments later, the left wing struck a palm tree. A violent jolt shook the aircraft. The captain finally attempted to abort the landing, but there was almost no time left. The damaged plane tore through more trees. One engine lost power. The aircraft skimmed a house, rolled, and slammed into rice fields short of the runway at high speed. Then it exploded. When the fire died down, the scene was devastating. Of the 66 people on board, 65 died. Rescue workers searched through wreckage scattered across muddy fields. For a brief time, several people were found alive, including 2 young children. In the end, only one survived, a 14-month-old Thai boy named Chanyuth Nimanon. He had suffered broken legs but somehow lived through an accident that killed everyone else aboard. The investigation that followed uncovered a chain of decisions that led to disaster. Investigators concluded that the aircraft itself had no major mechanical problems. Instead, the captain had continued descending far below safe limits without seeing the runway and ignored repeated warnings from his fellow crew members. The official report cited pilot error as the primary cause. Today, the story of Flight 815 is remembered as a tragedy shaped by bad weather, limited airport equipment, and a fatal decision to keep descending when the safest choice would have been to go around and try again. The flight lasted less than an hour, but its lessons are still discussed whenever pilots are trained on the dangers of pressing on into conditions where the runway cannot be seen.